Peace in Pan-Africanism to all my African brothers and sisters from all around the world. Welcome back to Kagiso and PASETA YouTube channel. We would love to say a happy Africa Day to every African living around the world. It is a very important day, and I was sent today by the PASETA team to give the first PASETA Africa Day lecture. It is a very important day. We know that in 1963, when my mother was born, the Organization of African Unity was formed on this day. And that is why we are celebrating this day, to remember how far we have came as Africans, and to remember just what we need to do to achieve what we need to get to in terms of where Africa would want to see itself. So today, I would love you to sit down, relax, put on your earphones, kick back, and take out your notebook if you can, because I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to drop something in you that is going to be thought-provoking to how you're going to view Africa. I'm going to do this segment in this video in two segments. The first segment, the half of the segment, will be uploaded on Kagiso, but the entire full segment, full video will be uploaded on the PASETA YouTube channel. So make sure that you go to the PASETA YouTube channel and subscribe there, leave a comment, share the video, the full video that will be posted there. If I have to start my lecture about Africa, I get into a spiritual trance where I travel from Cape to Cairo, from the west to the east, searching for the voices of our African ancestors. I wonder what is it that they would say today if they had to look at how Africa has turned out. In my search of this voice of our ancestors, I am in the ocean where the colonizers' ships were carrying hundreds of Africans, taking them from their homeland, taking them to Europe, taking them to America. Some slaves in the fear of what is to come, or you can classify it as the fear of unknown. They jumped off the boats with chains on their legs. They jumped off the boats fearing where they were going, into the sea. Chains stopping them from swimming, demolishing any chance of survival. Our ancestors were eaten by the sharks in the sea. I want to take you to that moment where a man was taken forcefully away from his family. He hears the sound of his wife calling his name one last time, while he's been beaten and shackled into chains, while he is forcefully placed in the boats. There in the boats, he sees the fear of his fellow African brothers. On their face, tears, snot coming out of their nose, blood on their body, as they go to a world unknown. I want you to think for a moment about the family that is left behind in the hands of the colonizers, still controlled by them. Will they see their father again? They don't know. Will they get to see their sister, their mother again, their children again that are on the boat? They don't know. The evilness of the Europeans in colonizing Africa is unmeasurable, unforgettable, and unrepairable to what they did to our spirits, our minds, and our bodies. You cannot speak about Africa not acknowledging the kingdoms that reigned supreme before the colonizers came into our land. I can think of the kingdom of Kush that was there, 107 BCE. I can think of the empire of Mali that was led by the richest man in Africa recorded in the history, Mansa Musa. I can speak about the great kingdom of Zimbabwe. All of the stone structures and architectural buildings that were there, destroyed by our colonizers, if I might add. I can speak about the kingdom of Ghana. I can also mention the kingdom of the Congo. Before our colonizers came, our people were thriving on their land. I can also mention the great kingdom of Benin. And that goes without saying that we must mention the kingdom of Kemet, or we can call it the ancient Egypt. There's so many others I can mention. From Ethiopia to Sudan, I can mention so many. They're in Senegal, in Nigeria, and even coming back here at home in South Africa. Africans were improving and living at a rate that the rest of the world did not understand. Africa was once great. Yes, it was not perfect, but it was once great. The Garden of Eden had everything that we needed in it, and nothing that we did not need, up until our colonizers came into our lives. They came in pockets, but I want to take you back to the meeting that was held in 1985 on the 15th of November. This is a well-recorded meeting that the people call the Berlin Conference. The Berlin Conference ran from 1984, the 15th of November, up until 1985, the 26th of February. In those 3 months, the evil colonizers plotted an ambush on the African people that they did not await for. They discussed the issue of cutting Africa into 54 pieces, sharing it amongst them as if they were sharing a loaf of bread. Because Africa was being destroyed, one tribe, one clan at a time. I can speak about the genocide that Leon II had from 1885 to 1908, unaliving more than 15 million Africans. Today, there are countries in Africa that don't even have 15 million citizens. So you can just imagine the number of the magnitude of bones of our ancestors lying in the ground because of this one man, Leopold II. And we will never call Leopold a king, because he was not a king to the African people. He was the devil walking on 2 feet. Not only the genocide that he committed, we know that he beheaded limbs of our African people, hands and legs. Many people remember the hands, but also the legs, for not listening or obeying his Belgium evilness that he was trying to install in Africa. Africans were colonized painfully. Our ancestors still cry from the graves till today. Genocide continued in the entire Africa. Ask the Namibians, they will tell you what the Germans did. Go to Zimbabwe, go to the DRC, go to Sudan, go and ask them in Nigeria, go and ask them in South Africa. It's like the same story is repeating itself. Just because of that famous conference, the Berlin Conference. I always ask, what is the equivalent of Africa today of the Berlin Conference? Some might answer to say the Organization of African Unity that was established in 1963 was that type of a conference that was trying to bring the African people together. We know it was done away with in 2002, and then the African Union came into place. But when we look at the impact of the African Union and compare it to the Berlin Conference, it is uncomparable. Let me tell you what was discussed on that conference in Berlin and what colonization actually did to us as African people. There were areas that the colonizers were truly focused on when they were thinking about taking Africa over. The first thing when it came to colonizing Africa was to colonize the African mind. The second thing was to colonize African information, or you can say the education system. The third thing was to colonize the language. The fourth thing was to colonize spirituality. The fifth thing was to colonize the wealth of Africa and the environment it operates in. And the last thing they had to do was to introduce an education system that they are in control of, but that gives Africans hope that the one man, one vote can free them from colonization. Now, for those who are watching on King Says So, this is where the video ends. If you want to watch the entire video, please go on our YouTube channel of PASETA, Pan-Africanist School, and we will be continuing this lecture there. Thank you very much. Now, I want to go through these topics one by one so that I can make a thorough breakdown so that you can understand a little bit more how systematically they colonized our country. They colonized the mind, they colonized the education system, they colonized the language, they colonized spirituality, they colonized the wealth of our country, our continent, and took our environment away from us, and then introduced at the end a hope that will never be reached with the political system. Thank you so much for supporting PASETA. Thank you so much for coming to the PASETA YouTube channel. We really appreciate the support that you guys are giving us. Now, when we talk about colonizing the mind, is the behavior patterns of African people. African people lived in harmony with each other. There is a great word that Africans like to throw around, not understanding how impactful that word is, and that word is Ubuntu, humility. Ubuntu is a spirit where you accept other people's differences and you live in harmony with them, welcoming them to your area and exchanging with them in peace and equality. Now, when they had to colonize the mind, they had to change that behavior. They had to make you feel like you are barbaric in the nature of how you live. All of your beliefs, your cultural beliefs, values, and norms were changed to say, you cannot live like this. This is wrong. Live in this fashion. When John van Rysbeck wrote a letter back to the Dutch kingdom, he said something that was very profound about his first observation of Africans and how they live. He says, I am quite surprised that we are at a place that has no prison. We don't understand how these tribes are living amongst each other in harmony. They acknowledge that there are those who are the Khoi. They acknowledge that there are those who are the Xhosa. They acknowledge that there are Ndebele people. There are those who are Tonga people. There are those who are Zulu people. They understand what is going on. Yes, of course, there is conflict here and there, but they live in harmony with each other. There are women walk around with their breasts shown to the public, but no man dares to bother the lines of forcing themselves into another woman. The Belgium did not understand. The Dutch did not understand, excuse me. How is it that these African barbaric men and women had a sense, a high level of self-control? So they tried to weaken our belief system by destroying the mind. And with African nature, we welcome them in doing that. Very important and very close to the Pan-African School of Economics, Technology and Agriculture is how they colonized the education system. Education system is not only limited to a formal schooling structure, even though we know that when you go deeper into the north of Africa, you understand that these people destroyed the Alexandra Library in Kemet. They came and learned mathematics. They learned science. They learned medicine. They learned everything from us as Africans, and then turn around and use the knowledge that they learned against us, from us against us. They destroyed and burned the Great Wall of Benin. The whole kingdom of Benin put to the ground, and many others throughout the African continent. After doing all of that, because they saw that Africans were superior in knowledge, our libraries were not only recorded in books. No. Our library was in our blood. The way we talked, the way we sang, the rhythm of the drums. Our library was around the fire where our elders who were working libraries would share stories, spiritual stories. that stuck and engraved in our minds. They had to destroy that system because they did not understand how we preserve knowledge for so many centuries without writing a physical book. I'm talking about the other parts of Africa. Most parts of Africa actually recorded in scribes, in writings on stones, and in many other forms what their ancestors were doing. They destroyed the records of everything that we had in history, and then destroyed everyone that had knowledge of what those records were saying. It is recorded how the Europeans went around and said, if you dare speak about your gods, if you dare practice your culture, if you don't practice what we are telling you, we are going to destroy you. What we teach is what is right, and if you don't abide to it, you get hanged and you get humiliated in front of the whole village. They then introduced a new form of education, which we now know a revised form from what they learned in Kemeth, which is now what we call the education system: lower, middle, higher, and varsity level. They introduced this and they gave us new information, new books. They planted a seed in the African child and allowed that seed to grow alone. Today, we as African people, we think the way we were programmed by the colonizers' education. It is almost impossible to decolonize the African continent without attacking the education system. There is nothing you can get right if you don't teach it in the school system. Start in the school system, like PASETA believes. Start in the school system. Teach the children from a young age, and they will grow with those beliefs. They will grow with that knowledge. They will grow understanding what they were taught from a young age. And what the colonizers did that was very, very, very important is what they taught, they maintained it for more than 100 years. If you can just maintain it 50 years, repeating the same education system, giving these Africans the same type of education system, rewarding those who get great marks, rewarding those who get distinctions and everything, and then you create an environment where Africans then long to be like the Europeans. Another area of colonization that they had was sadly the language. They took away our language. Here I am today addressing Africans in a colonizer's language, European language. Africans speak French fluently. Africans speak Portuguese, Italian fluently. Africans pride themselves in speaking fluent English. Now, I could speak my mother tongue, Sepedi. I could speak my father tongue, Xitsonga. I could speak in Ndebele today. I could speak in Zulu. I could speak Shona, or speak in other South African languages that I am quite fluent in, but I will be limiting many of you because of the form of colonization that we have received. Language is very important. So in PASETA, when we preach one Africa, one language, that Black African language that we're talking about is Kiswahili. We will take our children back into speaking one language. We are not saying we are going to take children's languages and cultures away from them. No. We are saying on addition to the language that they know, we're going to add one more, which is Kiswahili, and hopefully develop it in the education system to a point after 10, 15, 30, 50 years, where our children will be comfortable in trading in this language, which is Kiswahili. Kiswahili is our language. There is absolutely no pride in speaking fluent English and twanging with your tongue and twanging and being prideful of speaking the most elegant English. It's just pure rubbish. They colonized the spiritual understanding of the African child. They demonized the way that we practice spirituality. The great debate of Africans practicing Christianity. When Christianity came to Africa, we know it is well recorded that it came before colonization. We know that the Arabs were here with the Quran before colonization. We know that the oldest church in the world is in Ethiopia. We know all of this information, but we do also equally acknowledge that the colonizers used mostly religion to colonize us, specifically Christianity. They introduced the church and demonized the way we were practicing our spirituality. Every African clan, every African tribe had their own form of God. They had their way of practicing their spirituality, and that was taken away from most African cultures. Now, the issue with that is that the spirituality of Africans comes with something that the modern religion does not come with, and that is cultural identity. Africans, when they practice their spirituality, which is a form of religion, we call it the African religion, that spirituality points them back to where they come from. They see themselves in the lineage that they are worshipping in. Not so much can be said about the religions that has been forced down the throat of our African people. The great debate has to be done regarding that. I'm not going to waste a lot of time speaking about that, because the greatest Pan-Africanist in history have practiced religion in one form or another. They ran this machinery of churches, introduced it to us for more than 100 years, and they made sure that reputation is the mother of all perfection. Repeat, repeat. I am Catholic. I am Islam. You identify yourself in there. Hopefully, you will die in that religion that you introduce your children in, and your children's children will also be in that religion. And now when your children look back, they now see themselves in that religion and nothing outside or beyond it. How crazy is that, ladies and gentlemen? How crazy is that? I can go so much speaking about how spirituality was used, or religion rather, was used as a form, as a tool to deeper colonize the mind of the African child. There's a great saying by the former Bishop Mabonga, who says, when Christians enter their worship temples, they leave their brains on the door. When Muslims enter, they wash their hands and their feet on the door. And that saying, I think, has got far deeper implications in just taking it as an easy statement, because of how Africans have spiritualized religion. It's a topic that we have to have for another day. Lastly, I have to talk about, when we talk about the form of colonization, is they colonized our wealth and our environment. They took our land. Everybody knows in the African countries. In South Africa, we are sitting with about 83% of the people being black. But when you look at how much land the 83% owns, it's a total joke. It's a total joke. I myself, working in the Department of Agriculture, working with farmers, working with people who are in the farming industry, I can tell you that I think our land audit needs to be redone properly. And this goes for every country in Africa. The land audit, where people's hectares start and end in farms, is totally miscalculated in South Africa. I can tell you that one for free. They took our minerals. They took those minerals and slaves to go and build Europe. After they were done building Europe, they then told the slaves, go back where you come from. Till today, raw material is still being exported out of our African countries, where it is clear that if we keep this raw material in our countries, it can alleviate poverty. We will not have problem with the health sector, the education sector, infrastructure development. We will not have any of those problems if we were in control of those sectors. So now they control the supply and demand. There's nothing we can do because they have now put on that 100-year rule that I'm talking to you guys about. They've got long leases, they've got long contracts signed with government, signed with president, signed with religious leaders, signed with traditional leaders, where they can continue to loot our country until our continent, up until nothing is left. They are hoping that nothing will be left when they are done, not understanding that you can put China, you can put Europe, and you can put America into Africa, and you still have space. Let me close with these remarks, and I would like to thank you so much for giving me an ear. Africa views life through a political lens. Africa views life through a political lens, because at the end of all of that colonization that was done to us as African people, we were then given something that it was going to ignite hope in us. And that thing is politics. We were given different political parties. We were given all of these ideas to say, if you can vote for this political party, it will free you. But in the background, these political parties are captured by our colonizers themselves. If the political party is not captured by the colonizer, the system of politics is captured by the colonizer. So it does not give the genuine political parties a chance to even win. Divide, then conquer. They have divided us into these small pieces of political parties, making sure that they control the majority. They don't need to control everyone. They control the majority of these political parties so that the genuine ones cannot win. So African people chase political parties, their minds brainwashed by tribalism, spirituality, religion, classism also, which is important. Certain people vote for this political party because of what they believe. Other people follow a political party because of their religious belief. We see that all the time, all around the African continent. So I don't believe that politics is something that can save us fully like they promise us to do. So that's why at PASETA we have decided we are going to stand up. We cannot attack all of these points that I just gave you guys today, but we can say in the education sector, we are going to Africanize the curriculum of the African child. And we are going to make sure that the African child gets the best African education to revive and bring back, to resurrect the African spirit that our ancestors once had. That is what we are trying to do in the Pan-African School of Economics, Technology and Agriculture. As today we are marching in solidarity with Captain Ibrahim Traore from Arcadia in Pretoria to Hatfield to the embassy of Burkina Faso. We are very happy. We are very happy as PASETA to support that initiative. We are very happy to be associated with all the organizations that are marching in solidarity with the issue of saying one Africa, one land, one Africa, one president, one Africa, one army, one Africa, one language, and one Africa, one life. That's what we are trying to do in PASETA. So we are starting in the education sector. We will attack the other areas where we were deeply colonized. But we are saying in the education sector, we are calling you guys in Namibia, we are calling you the East PASETA. We are calling you guys in Angola, the East PASETA. We are calling you guys in Liberia, the East PASETA. We are calling you guys in Lesotho, the East PASETA. We are calling you guys in South Africa, the East PASETA. We are looking to form PASETA right now in Botswana, Mozambique, Kenya, and Nigeria. That's where we want to grow. PASETA is a generational call to say, let's do something about the education system. We thank each and every one of you that has been donating to the Pan-African School of Economics, Technology and Agriculture by sending your 50 Rand. Sending just a 50 Rand or more really makes a big difference at PASETA. And also what is very important is buying one pallet of bricks in the spirit of Mike Hadebe, who said, I am dedicating my money, my wealth to build this organization. The pallet of bricks, few of them, I must say we have less than 10 pallets of bricks donated to the Pan-African School. So we can do more. We can definitely do more, my African people. Thank you so much. I hope you are going to enjoy your Africa Day. I hope that you are going to be, more clued up about what is happening in Africa. I could have chosen to give a history lesson, to tell you guys about Lumumba, tell you guys about all the African heroes, Samor Michel. I could have told you guys about many other African heroes, but I just chose today to speak about this because I felt like it is very important to us as African people, just to remind you what type of mechanism they used to colonize us, in which areas exactly they did that. And now you know there's something that you can do about it. If you enjoyed this lecture of Africa Day, please go to our comment section and give us a word of encouragement as we are looking to start the new month with a bang. Us here on PASETA, the marketing team said, I must greet you. The marketing team said they are coming. We are launching the new t-shirts in June. A beautiful design that is there, and we are looking for your support. It's going to be a way of raising funds for the Pan-African School of Economics, Technology and Agriculture. So thank you so much for everyone who is supporting us. Until we meet again, don't forget to pray. But after you pray, stand up, African child. Do your best so that God can do the rest. Peace and Pan-Africanism. I salute you.